Hello there, this is MusicMan0150, also known as Gary. And yes, I'm back again with another video to present to you. And today, we're outside for the moment. And as you can see, we had a couple of big rainstorms earlier. We had one this morning probably around 9 o'clock. And then we had another one shortly around 5. So we had two big rainstorms. You can see how things are a little wet still. But I wanted to come outside first before it got dark because I'd like to show you something. And I have my old shoes on, so that way I don't have to worry about tracking mud or wet in the house. But take a look right here. What you see before you are 20 newly planted trees. These are trees that came from Arbor Day Foundation and made a donation to them, and in return they were supposed to just give us 10 assorted trees, but instead, because of the late arrival, they gave us 20 assorted trees. 2 10 assorted mixes at once. So some of the trees that we have are silver maple, red bud, blue spruce. There's another type of pine tree. There's dogwood, I think, and there's a few others that I'm not quite sure what they are. But there's 2 sets of 10 for a total of 20. So yesterday these were put in these little black plastic or rubber pots, you might say, because we had to separate them in order to help them grow more efficient. And I thought I'd come out and show you some of the little seedlings. Now it's probably going to take a little bit of time for them to start growing, but you know what? With all this water that we've been having lately, it looks like we may be lucky, and some of these may start growing. And it's going to take a little bit of time for them to grow. If they don't grow, it's not a big loss because it didn't cost anything. They were given as a thank you, appreciation for the donation to the Arbor Day Foundation. But if they do grow, hey, the more the merrier. So we'll just have to see what happens. But we'll give it a couple weeks. I would say maybe about a week or so, and then we'll take them out of the pots and put them in the ground. This pine looks like, you could tell that one, yeah, that one looks like it's starting to turn green again. I thought it was going to turn brown there for a minute. Let me just kind of feel down in there. Oh yeah, it's wet. It's soaked. Yeah, it's soaked. I don't want to get my hand too dirty because I want to be able to hold the camera with my other hand if need be. But yeah, I think they're going to be okay. It's going to take time for them to really sprout, but hopefully they'll be take take a walk back here a minute. This is a hostas tree or a bush. It came back right away, and I didn't even cut the dead limbs off last year. I don't think I did. Can't remember. But it looks good. And then over here, this is where I've been kind of doing some modification over here on the side of the garage. There's some hostases growing there. I think I dug one out yesterday when I was getting all this dirt. See, there's a couple pots there with dirt in them. And that's where I was getting the dirt to put in those black rubber pots for those trees. This is an extra pot here in case we need it. But I don't think it'll be necessary to use it. See, that's why I got my old shoes on, because I just stepped in some mud right there. So I have to make sure I leave these shoes outside for sure. And yeah, there's another hostas growing. Hopefully I can prevent the weeds from coming up over here, because that's been a big problem. Every summer, the weeds, they tend to grow within the hostases, and it's a big mess. So hopefully we can prevent the weeds from growing. And there's the pile of bricks again. Slowly but surely this pile is going down, because I had to take some of the bricks from over here and put them around those pots so that when the neighbor guy comes over to cut, he won't accidentally run over those. Let's take a walk over here, just inspect the back of the shed here. Yeah, it's really wet back here. But there's the lights. They're still up there, tacked up there. And I still have the one back here on the swing, shining the back side of the yard. I don't know if I'll get any more lights for back here or not. Maybe, maybe not. It all depends. But everything looks good here. Don't see anything wrong here. Those are just some extra bricks I have on top of the trash can so it doesn't blow over. There's a couple bricks there. Those were actually holding the pots in place on the ground when I had them on the ground empty. And I see the bag blue on this trash can here on top. Well, I'm not going to mess with it now though, it's too wet. Then I have, there were flowers here last year, but they were seasonal, so they didn't grow this time. But the rose bush, that's starting to come back. So we'll have to put some feed on that so it'll really bloom nice again. And there's the front side of the swing, front side of the swing, not set. Side of the swing. Looks good. Yep, everything looks okay back here. So, ooh, almost walked into my little windmill island. Yeah, and there's bricks there too. That's for the windmill when I put it up for the summertime. And over here, just to give you an update, the bird feeders. Let's see, how do we look? And that one's about quarter full. I don't want to get too close because of the mud. That looks like, there still might be some feed in there. Thought it was empty, but it's not. That one got empty again, and that one got empty again. So, not tonight because it's too wet. But maybe tomorrow or Monday, if it doesn't rain, I'll come out and put some more feed in the feeders. Might as well check in here. The shed. This is the one that's got the split roof. No, I don't want to step in there with my dirty shoes, because then it's going to be hard to get the mud out of there. But yeah, I think things look pretty good in here. I am going to be loading some more stuff for recycle this coming Monday, because my girlfriend Elaine, she's going to be going up that way on Tuesday for an appointment, and I'm going to have her take some extra stuff to recycle that's up there on Parkman. Actually, it's on the Parkman Township, but the address is 5138 Enterprise Boulevard, and it's for the Trumbull County residents here in Ohio. It's for the Trumbull County residents. They could take electronics, they can take household wastes on certain days. Electronics can be brought up on every day during the summer that they're open. They're open Tuesday and Wednesday 10 to 3, and then the first Saturday, I believe, of each month, from 9 to 12. I think it's the first Saturday of every month for Trumbull County. It might be every other Saturday. One Saturday for Trumbull, one Saturday for Geauga. I'm not really sure, but I know Tuesday and Wednesday they'll be open 10 to 3, and they'll accept electronics. On Wednesdays only, they'll accept household wastes like oils and paints, and not latex paint, but oil-based paint they'll take, and I think cardboard, paper, or whatever. I'm not really sure. I do have the flyer that we could take a look at later to verify it. But yeah, everything looks good in here, and some of the stuff will be taken up there Tuesday. And I see my battery is running low, so I do need to go in the house, get the external battery, and then we'll come back out and do some more. So I'll be right back as soon as I get the external battery hooked up. Okay, we're back again. I got the external battery hooked up, and come back here in the shed, and let me show you the battery that I'm using. This is it right here. That's the cable, and this end is to the battery, and the other end of the cable is hooked to the camera here, and that's what's going to keep us rolling here for a while. Because you can see on this battery here, if I push that, if you could see the lights, it's hard to see. Wait a minute, let me try it again. Yeah, you see that? There's 4 lights, so we got a full charge. So we'll have plenty of power. So, getting back to what's in here that's going to go, I wanted to mention that, but the battery was going low. What is going to get out of here on Tuesday, there's that TV on the right hand side of that shelf, that brown one. That's going to go. That television right there with the antennas on it, that's going to go. That little one down on the floor there, and that one's going to go. Those 3 are going to go, because they've been out here in this shed, and honestly I don't know if they still work or not. I know that one right there, the one with the antennas still attached to it, I know that one, that was one that I got from Father Joe Rujak, that he had, and he was moving out of the current location, which was 421 Covington Street, and he moved to a condominium. I think it was in Canfield or Camel or somewhere out that way, because he retired as a priest. So he was cleaning out a lot of his personal stuff, and a lot of it he didn't want anymore. So I told him I'd take it and check it out, and if it's no good, recycle it. So if it's dry Monday, or maybe even, well, Monday I'm supposed to load. I'm going to be loading the car, so I don't know whether I'm going to try out those TVs or not. Probably not. I think I'm just going to assume they don't work and just get them out of here. That Magnavox stereo is going to go if there's room in the car. I think that's going to, I'm going to get rid of that, because it doesn't play right. One side plays clear but soft. The other side would play loud, you know, normal loud, but it's very distorted. So that's going to go. That TV up there on the left, that's not going yet. I want to hang on to that one yet. I want to take a look at that one and see exactly what went bad inside. I know it was the power supply. Something in the power supply must have went bad, because the last time I did try it, it wasn't coming on. The voltage was dropping real low, and then I started smelling something. So that one is not going to go just yet, because it's got the feature for an actual monitor. It's one of those rare 12-inch monitors. And then there's two more TVs. I don't know if you could see them. I think I showed you last time in another video. I showed you there's another TV under this little one, and then there's yet another one underneath that one. So there's three TVs stacked on each other right there, but the two big ones underneath that little one, I want to do an analysis on the one, which is the Panasonic. When I received it in shipment, it was really, really damaged. It was beat up. I'll have to show it to you in detail. And I want to really inspect the inside too, because I would like to see if it still survived its impact. But all you subscribers, especially all you TV repair people that work on these vintage TVs, I will need your help tremendously when we go to inspect that Panasonic. I'll need your help, and I'll need your help tremendously to know for sure whether it's safe to plug in or not and try it out. I would think it would be okay as long as the picture tube isn't necked. So that's the main thing we need to inspect, is the picture tube. I think it should be all right as long as the picture tube is not aired. You know, in other words, the vacuum got out of it. The front didn't look like it got aired, but we got to make sure that the neck is intact and it's not white, aired. So we're going to have to really bring it out in the sun and take a look at that very carefully to see if we can revive it, just to see if it works. That would be amazing if that set survived that huge impact. I'll have to show it to you at some point. Maybe sometime this week I can pull it out of there, because I'm going to have to clean everything out of the shed anyway and kind of vacuum it down and clean it up a little bit, from the winter. But yeah, definitely want to inspect that Panasonic set, because it's a rarity. And then this shed I showed you last time, it has more electronics in it, and that's the one that I got to go through for sure. I got to recheck those televisions, all those boom boxes that are in there. They're well, not really boom box. Well, yeah, I guess you can call them boom boxes. There's at least, I think, 6 or 8 of them in there that I'm using for parts. So I'm just pulling my shoes off, in case you're wondering what I was doing there. Pulling my shoes off before coming in the house, because it's mud out there and I don't want to track mud in the house here. Anyway, I was saying the boom boxes that are in there, there's about 8 of them, and I'm using them for parts. So probably keep those, but there's a couple more TVs in there that will need to be moved to the recycle shed, and go from there. So now we're going to enter this room, if I can squeeze in here. This is another disaster. As I said in the last video, this has to be cleaned out. I can barely get in here. This is not good. But I got to clean something outside first before I can move stuff out of here into the outside. But I mean, this room is jam-packed, as you can see. I can't even get back in there. I showed you this last time. Can't even get back there. Those boxes, I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but those boxes that are above the speakers, way on the back wall there, there's a couple boxes there. And then there's a couple more boxes, I think, down behind these totes. Those are actual TV chassis that go for the Century 2 Zenith 20-inch television. And I acquired, or I should say I bought, I think I bought 3 of them, because that one TV that's at the very bottom in the shed that we were just looking in, that's a Zenith Century 2, and the chassis that's in there, it stopped working. And what I would like to try to do is take one of these newer chassis and try to put it in that set. I don't know if they'll work or what, but it's definitely a project that I would like to try. I know I'd be taking a big risk, but maybe you TV enthusiasts that work on these vintage sets, maybe you can give me some pointers on how to go about changing the chassis, so that way maybe I can get that set running again. In fact, I got an identical one in the workshop that I'll show you, and you'll know exactly what TV I'm referring to. But as you can see here, I got speakers back there. Just below the speaker shelf is all kinds of film equipment. There's a projector, and then there's a box full of film, well, maybe a couple reels of film, and then a lot of accessories for the filming. And that's something I may go through and may just recycle, because that's starting to get way obsolete. I mean, nobody's been asking me to remaster filming anymore. I mean, because that's so outdated. But the thing is, if the projector still works, I would like to try to make a collection of films. Even if they don't have sound, it would be nice to have, some films that you could view, and then just play some, background music or something along with the film. Because that's part of history, that's part of media history, and I really would hate to break that nostalgia era out. You know what I mean? I don't want to really have to get rid of it. But I got to do something to this room. I mean, I got totes and TVs and more totes and more TVs. That's what's taking up all the room in here. The floor space anyway. Because the shelving is good. I mean, I could stack stuff on the shelf. As you could see here, I got a bunch of radios right there. And those darker gray radios are the same ones that I have out in the shed. Only these work. The dark gray ones, and even that light one, that lighter one, it's silver. It's more silver than gray, but it works too. And then that brown one right there, that one also works too. All the stuff that works fairly good is here in the house. And everything that is being used for parts that can, you know, withstand the climate change and the you know, the dampness and whatnot. Well, not necessarily the dampness. I'm going to have to check those things out anyway. But anything that's out there in the shed that I'm using for parts, or for anything I want to just use outside, that works, you know, fairly good too. Now the radios, no. Those are for parts. But some of those TVs in there that you saw last time, not this time because we couldn't get in there, those, there's a few in there that do work fairly well. And I'm going to try to keep those running. But these dark gray radios here, these are those rechargeable ones by GE. That's the 3-5247A model. And it was the only one that I know of that had the rechargeable battery in them. It was the only one that I think I know of thus far that had that rechargeable battery feature. That's why I like those that much. The other thing that I really like is when I go to use them for parts, the front panel comes off very easily to access the speakers and the crossover. So I can actually take, in fact, I might even do that. I might take those radios that are out in the shed apart, take out the crossover, take out the speakers, and if I have any, you know, standalone speaker cabinets that have a couple holes in them, you know, for a tweeter or a 5-inch full range, I think I'm going to reconstruct those. Now, I do have, just to show you here, and then we're going to move on a little bit, this sound design speaker, I actually did look in the inside of this, and the speaker down here is perfect. That's a 5-inch mount. But up here, I'm not sure what that is. It looks like just a fake tweeter. But if there's a way that I can pull off that, whatever's behind this grill here, there's a way I could pull that off and mount one of those tweeters from those old radios that I have in the shed, boy, that would really make a nice two-way, along with that crossover that's in there. And naturally, I would cut the wires so that the crossover can be used with that connector. So, yeah, there's definitely projects that I want to do. It's just a matter of time, knowing when to do them. So, that's that room. And now here we're in the shop, and again, this is crowded too. This is another place that needs cleaned out. But there's the TV. There's the TV that I'm referring to that I have brand new chassis for. That's a Century 2 Zenith, and it's identical to the one that's out in the shed. The only difference is with this one is it does not have the audio video line inputs on the chassis. And that's another reason why I want to take this one apart as well, because I have an identical chassis for this particular model, and then there's two more chassis that are stereo compatible and also line level compatible for video as well as audio. And it would be really nice to rebuild both of these sets to make them, like new again. Now, I don't know about the picture tube. I don't think the picture tube is what's bad. I think it's the it's probably the high voltage circuit or the flyback transformer or something that's kind of going bad, because the picture is a little bit out of focus. But I think the picture tube itself is okay. And the same with the other one, I hope, because it's been out there in the shed. I didn't bring it in this past winter, so it was out there in the cold. So I don't know what the condition of it is going to be. I should have brought it back in the house for the winter, but I didn't. But we didn't have as much cold weather this past winter as we did the year before. So, but even if I could have brought it in, I wouldn't have had no room for it. So hopefully the picture tube on that is okay. If not, then it's going to have to go to recycle. But we'll see. So now we're in what we call the office media room. And this hasn't changed much either, because to be honest with you, I've been occupied with music practice, music performing, and there's just, not enough hours in the day to do anything. But I do have to do something. I do have to do something to start emptying out. I mean, I've never had this much stuff. I mean, I've had a lot of stuff, but I was able to kind of get rid of it little by little each time. But now it's like, you might as well say I'm kind of overwhelmed by all this, and I'm just going to have to start parting with it. I keep saying that, but I got to motivate myself to do it, and then not get anything addition to clutter it up again. I'll tell you what, though, I will be honest with you as we're walking around here. I always had a dream that I would love to create a vintage media museum. A vintage media museum, which means, how they have the vintage arcades, like Pastimes Arcade in Girard. And I'll tell you what, they are doing superior. They are doing very, very well there. And those of you that are YouTube subscribers, if you have not seen my visit to Pastimes, be sure to check that channel out. Well, not the channel, the video, I'm sorry. The video, check that out. Because I was there on March 24th. It was a month ago, this past Wednesday. And they are really, really doing well. I hope to go back there again soon and do some other footage and let you see what's going on with that. But anyway, yeah, the light came on because it's on a sensor. Let me show it to you. Yeah, see that light up there in the ceiling? Yeah, that's on a sensor, because that way it doesn't stay on all the time. It turns off after about 4 minutes. And that way this light is off, and then I can keep those lights on downstairs as long as I need them. And then this one's not burning, because the only way you can get to that bulb is with a bulb pole. A bulb pole. It's a long pole, and it's got a suction cup on it, and that's how you take out that bulb. unless you got one of those little giant ladders and you secured it on the steps, which even that might be a little bit dangerous. But yeah, that's the only way to get to that is with one of those long poles that they use to screw and unscrew bulbs. And that's a fairly, yeah, that's a standard size bulb, so it should be able to replace that once it goes out. But anyway, getting back to my story, we're going to go in here in the living room. Yeah, I got the lights out right now, but oh, my dream. Yeah, my dream was to create a vintage media or nostalgia media museum. And it would have, you know, the vintage electronics and computers, game systems, and even the actual vintage media itself that has never been opened, like cassettes. I have several packs of cassettes that I bought from eBay because I really liked, you know, the vintage look of the labels. And I never opened the pack. And the reason I never opened the pack is because even the packaging looks great. Yeah, the packaging looks great. And I always thought, wow, wouldn't it be neat to have some kind of a building to open up a vintage media museum? And I would have working record players that are vintage. In fact, I got to take you back downstairs while we're talking. I got to show you something. Vintage record players, vintage radios, plenty of vintage TVs I have, and can have them showing vintage TV shows, or, you know, the record players can play the vintage music, like this old stereo here from my parents. I haven't used it for, you know, quite a while again because I've been just putting stuff on top of it, and it works. It still works. Like I said before, it does work. The only thing that's kind of wrong with it right now is the LP needle isn't working right. I don't think it's. What happened was, and I think I mentioned this in the last video, the 70. I was playing 78s on it, and the 78 record didn't go down on the turntable like it was supposed to. And the needle, or the arm, hit the record thinking it was going to go down, and instead of the record going down, it was stuck in the up position, and the needle slammed on the turntable. The 78 needle is still good, but it ruined the LP needle. So now I got to get another needle for that, and I know eBay has them. I'm pretty sure they do. But the problem is, how do you get the old one off and then put the new one on without ruining the new one? That's the problem. Because I don't want to just start yanking things off and making it worse. Because this is a very, very, very nice unit. Outside of that, though, I mean, you could play the records. I mean, you can play the LPs and 45s on it, but it's not a good idea with the wrong needle, because it could eventually ruin your records. But the amplifier works real good. The FM works good on it. Now the AM side, I'm not sure if it's because of all the wireless stuff I have here in the house that's making it not work right, or if something did really go wrong with the AM in general. And I'm not really sure. I'll tell you what we can do, though. Tell you what, I'm going to put the camera down. I'm going to clear off the top of that, and we're going to kind of play around with this unit and see what we can pick up on it. and give you an idea of what it sounds like too. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back now, and as you can see, I got the top cleared off of the stereo. And I've shown you this stereo, before when it was over at my mom and dad's house, and I think I showed it to you a couple times over here too. But I haven't run this for a while, so we're gonna go ahead and power it up and kind of play around and see what we come up with. Let's see. We are on. Yeah. Well, let me show you the AM right from the start, so you can kind of hear what's going on with it. I got the volume turned down. I always like to turn the treble all the way up, and the bass, we'll put the bass halfway. Okay, now I'm going to show you. Now you should be able to hear it because I do have this flat screen TV in front of it, but it's in here because eventually it's going to get hung up in the bedroom. I don't know how soon, but eventually it's going to get hung up. But you should be able to hear. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so right now it's just on static, and I'm trying to see where the red line is. Okay, it's down at the bottom. It's all the way at the bottom. So we're going to kind of scan through, and you're going to hear exactly what this thing does. See, now that's supposed to be a station, but it's blank, so I don't know what it could be. See, it's just all blank. So I don't know if something went wrong with the AM or what. See, now there's a frequency there. It's like there's a ground. Something's with the ground on it. Ah, see? See, I think something happened to this. See, because it's not even picking up. It used to pick up 1390. Just 1390, but it's not picking up anything. See, it's oscillating, and I'm sure you radio repair people would know that. But there's no reception at all. See, it's just, that static pulsing. It's just a lot of interference. And it's like false stations. So TV Radio Phono Nut or Shangu or Mr. Carlson's lab, any of you guys, what could be causing this kind of symptom for the AM not to work? So leave a comment and let me know, because I'll be curious to know, and then I will have to get it repaired somehow, because I would like this thing to be fully restored again. But now I'll show you the FM, and we're going to have to kind of go through it kind of quickly so we don't get any copyright strikes from the copyrighted music. See, now that comes in good. There's a little bit of static on the lower end of the FM, and I'm not sure what causes that. See, because the lower band, the lower part of the FM band is hard to tune in. See, it's like a dirty contact of some sort, and I don't know. What's the best way to cure that? That's my own little house radio station there. Yeah, we can't stay on the music too long. But you can hear how the FM is working pretty well. Yeah, right there's a pulse, but that's from the... Oh, there we go. That's an actual station. Okay. Okay, so yeah, you could see how the FM works fairly well. That's the AM again. Now there's the auxiliary. See, and the auxiliary works good. See, the auxiliary part works good. See, I can turn it up. See, and it worked, and that part works good. So the auxiliary and actually the phonograph, they do work. It does work. It does work good. The auxiliary actually works the best on that. So the amplifier itself is good, but the tuner part needs some work, and the phonograph needs some work too. Because what happens with the phonograph, the mechanics are actually good on it, but now what happens is the left side is a little softer playing than the right side if you're facing the front of the unit. Actually, if you're facing the back of the unit, the right side doesn't play right. And I'm thinking, I don't know if it's the cartridge for the needle or what it could be. I'm guessing it might be the cartridge. The cartridge might be going bad too. So, again, Radio TV Phono Nut, Shane Gu, Mr. Carlson's Lab, any of you that, you know, specialize in record player repair or, you know, console stereo repair like this, if you can give me some thoughts and comments on what could be causing some of these minor symptoms. I'm glad they're just minor, because the unit is still usable. And I mean, it has good sound. It really has good sound. In fact, I had to replace, or actually I did buy before replacement, an extra pair of 12-inch Qualm speakers that normally go in this unit. And what I had in there when it was given to me, because I had repaired it once when my parents had it, because we thought that the speakers went bad, I bought different types of woofers and horns. And the horns were probably okay, but the woofers were the wrong type. In fact, if you watch my speaker upgrade video where I was doing those black, were those brown boxes with the black grill on the front, I'll show you in case you forget which one it is. It was this grill here, this speaker here on the bottom. If you could see it, that black one, this one right here. It's gray now because of all the dust, but it was this one here that the woofer that's in here now used to be in that Magnavox console for woofers, and it was the wrong type. When I got the unit repaired by Prism Electronics, what was it? Almost 6 years ago, actually. The guy told me that those were the wrong speakers in there. I mean, they were okay. They did perform, but it wasn't the original sound that was being produced. So fortunately, I had a pair of those original Magnavox Qualms that I had bought as extras, and I put them in there, and it sure did bring back the original sound, and it sounded 100 times better, because those are low wattage. Those woofers that I took out, they're a little bit higher wattage, so that's why they didn't quite perform the way they should have. So yeah, this unit is pretty much all the way restored, but it's gonna need some more repair. And the reason I'd like to hang on to this as long as I can and keep it working as long as I can is for the record changer and the external speaker feature. And I even connected some patch cables from the inside, because that's where you have to connect them from for the tape out and the auxiliary input. They did not put jacks on the outside where you can just plug in an auxiliary device or record from it directly. You have to go inside the unit, and I'm really surprised that they did that. And I was almost gonna maybe cut out some holes in the back and mount a little jack plate, but you know what, that's harder than it was worth. So I just bought extension cables and ran them in the ran them from inside out. And you won't be able to see it, but where they are run, if you see where my hand is, I'm feeling now where the cables are coming out. It's right by the internal external speaker switch, and that's where the cables are being run from, because that was the best place to route it. But all in all, this is a really good unit, and the record changer is 4 speeds. 4 speeds, not just 3, 4. So you can play 16 RPM records on it. In fact, here's an example of a 16 RPM record. Let me see. Let me try to get one here that's easy to get to. I got a bunch right here. Yeah, here's one right here. Right here. Here's an example of a 16 RPM music record. These are obsolete Seeberg records that I had gotten on eBay, and they sound nice. They really sound nice. And what's nice about this unit is not only does it have the external speakers feature, so you can have probably up to if you have 7 records on there, you can probably have up to maybe 6 to 7 hours of playtime with no interruption of music at all, and it's all instrumental. And what I really like about that is you can hook up external speakers to it. I'd say probably no more than well, when my dad had the unit, he ran, this was over at the other house where I used to live, he would run one speaker downstairs in the basement. It was in the ceiling. It was that old Jensen that I was telling you about that had the wooden grill, and I have the original speaker but not the grill. And then he had one in the other part of the basement. This was a long time ago. He had an old car speaker he had connected in the other part of the basement. No grill or nothing. It was just a raw speaker up in the ceiling. And then he had a third one run outside. Was on the, like, under the little porch or carport or whatever. He had it out there for music. So there were three speakers, 3 externals connected to that. at one point. And then when we got the swimming pool, then we had 4 externals connected. But what we didn't realize, and I didn't even know it either, my dad didn't know, and then I didn't discover it until years later, many years later, when I moved into the corner apartments for about a year, and they wanted me to hook up their stereo so it would play downstairs again. It was not until then I discovered that the third jack, or actually it's not a jack, it's a screw on the back. One of these days when I go to turn the stereo around to check it out, or clean it or whatever, I'll have to show you the setup that it has on the back for the speakers. Now, I modified it recently after I got it in the house here. But, oh wait, let me turn it off first. I don't want to leave that running. There, okay. There, yeah, I didn't want to leave it running and close the lid. So I turned the volume up. Anyway, I modified I ran wire from the speaker original jacks to a barrier strip or a terminal strip, so it was a lot easier to connect them. But I started to say the third terminal screw on the bottom was the positive for the other channel for connecting speakers, and that one was never used. What my dad did is he tied in 4 speakers on the one channel, and that's probably why at some point when we would use it, one side would play good and the other side would kind of pop in and out. Fortunately, it never got distorted, where it gets that like FM, like if you tune in on an analog radio, an FM station, and it's not tuned in properly, you get that FM static or distortion. Well, fortunately that didn't happen, but the one channel would do like popping sounds every so often. And I think it's because the one channel was overloaded compared to the other one, because it was down to like well, let's see, if you have 2 8 ohms in parallel, that's 4 ohm. If you have 3 8 ohms in parallel, I think it divides it again into 2 ohm. And then if you have 4 8 ohms in parallel, I think it goes down to 1 ohm. And that's how many we had on that. We had 4 8 ohms. But the one thing about it is, though, the wire one was long. It wasn't short wire runs. They were pretty long, because going from inside the house to the outside of the house, that was maybe about 20 or 30 feet. So I guess we were saved by that. But if you were to hook up externals on here, I would say you do 2 externals for sure. And then if you want to add more, the best way to do it is to use a separate amplifier. And the best amplifier to use would be a 70 volt PA amplifier, where you have the transformers. You have those 70 volt transformers, and those automatically adjust to your speaker specification, and you can run as many as you want, providing that you don't go over the wattage capacity. I'm back here in the storage room, so you can see what I'm talking about as far as the amps go. Now, I can't get too close, but there they are right there. Those 2 amplifiers with the meters on front, Those are the 70 volt amp PA amps, or you can use them as 8 ohm, 4 ohm, or even 16 ohm. But remember, if you're going to use more than one speaker on those, and if you want to just use, say if you want to use two 8 ohm speakers, because it only has one output, and you want to go parallel, if you have two 8 ohms, you got to go to the 4 ohm output. Don't use the 8 ohm output. Use the 4 ohm. Because that's what I would do if I had that amp, and then these giant speaker cabinets that I have here, these gray ones, I would hook these in, with a cable, a 1/4 inch to 1/4 inch cable, and that would be parallel. So what I would do is hook that as 4 ohm, and that way it was the right output. Now, if you use the 70 volt, then you got to make sure that the speaker has the transformer on the back. Otherwise, you could burn out the speaker instantly, because the voltage is way too high. Now, one thing that I am really curious about, is I have in this box right here, and I was fortunate enough to get it on eBay. It's a field coil speaker. No damage to it at all. It's in perfect condition. It's a field coil, and I'm just wondering if you can run a field coil speaker without energizing the field coil on a 70 volt output. You just hook up the audio portion. You don't hook up the field coil for magnification, to turn that into electromagnet. You just hook up the audio portion, and then connect the other end of the wire to the 70 volt. And would that suffice proper output without having to energize the field coil itself? Because I've seen here on YouTube where someone else was demonstrating a field coil speaker, and they had to use a computer power supply to energize the field coil to make it louder. So I'm wondering if just using the 70 volt output would be sufficient to energize that. I'd be curious to know. Well, as you can see now, it's already dark outside. The time is almost 8. It is 8:50 exactly. Wow. And oh, you could see my smart bulbs are lit up. I did a routine with the Amazon app. I can't say the word because then it's going to activate. I'll call it the A app. But anyway, I bought 6 smart bulbs, 4 just recently, and then 2 last fall. And it's really neat because now I don't have to worry about turning off the outside lights, or if nobody's home, those can come on automatically or go off automatically without a physical timer. It's used by the internet clock, atomic clock, whatever you want to call it, and makes it really neat. Let me give you a little demonstration. I'll show you with these lights here, because these didn't come on yet. I'll show you how it works. Alexa, turn on short haul. Okay, you see that? Well, this one came on, but there we go. Now that one came on. It took a while for it to come on, but all I had to do was give that command and the lights came on. Now I'm going to have it go off. Alexa, turn off short haul. See that? No need to hit the light switch. No need to hit or a timer or anything like that. Actually, with those, it would just be hitting the light switch. You don't have to worry about that. Now I have that connected to the bulbs in here too. Alexa, turn on bedroom. See? Alexa, turn off lamp. See, now the lamp went off. Alexa, turn on lamp. Alexa, turn off bedroom. See that? No need to worry about hitting a switch. Now, these bulbs are also colored, but I don't have them programmed for color. Those will be done automatically. Those will be done in about I'd say at 9:45 these will turn blue or cyan, and then these should come on around 10 o'clock blue. So I can show you in a little bit what happens there. Oh, you can also dim the light, because all the bulbs that I bought are also dimmable. Alexa, dim lamp. Alexa, dim lamp. Alexa, dim lamp. Alexa, brighten lamp. No. Now see, it did it wrong. It did it wrong. It wasn't supposed to do that. So it's not, see, I didn't program a routine for that. Alexa, turn off lamp. Alexa, turn off bedroom. Oh, now we're in the dark. Alexa, turn on lamp. There we go. Okay, now we're back to normal. So that's where we are. But, oh, well, here, I can show you real quick. Because I got the phone in here, it's charging. I could show you here on the app how it works. It's almost 9 o'clock. So I'll be getting off of here in about 2 minutes here. I just want to show you this real quick. Let's see. Oh, I did have it open. Let's see. We want to go to here and there. Okay. Now you see what I have here? These are all routines. I know the camera doesn't pick it up too good, but these are all routines that I programmed for the smart bulbs. And if you look down here where it says EO2, EO3, EO4, EO5, all the way up to EO11, it goes from E1 to E01 to E11. Those are all the smart speakers that I have installed thus far. There's one more that I haven't connected yet. I have one more smart speaker yet that I need to connect up, and that's going to go on the upper porch. See how I have it numbered? That's so I know which one is which. Now, let's see. Okay, here we go. Long haul night lights. Now, I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit this right here. No, I didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do that. It's going to load the. It's going to load the routine. I don't want to do that. I don't need to change it. What I want to do is. It's another name of playing it. I got to go back down again to it. Long haul off, long haul on. Here we go again. Okay, let me set this down on the dresser to be easier to push the button. Get nice and close so I could see. Okay, now Oh, those lights went out. Okay. What was that for? Long haul night light. No, I didn't want them to go off. Long haul on. Let's push that. Huh. Well, looks like I'm going to have to troubleshoot it again. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Oh, okay. Interesting. Front door is white. Long haul is cyan. Huh. Interesting. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to break for right now. And while I try to figure some of this out, and then I'll be back, and we'll do a little bit more coverage before I head to bed tonight. So I'll be back in about let's say maybe 30 minutes, if not sooner, and we'll see what we can do with the smart bulbs. So stay tuned for more.